to help your anxiety and overthinking as a man may be the single most important thing you can do, since those things will keep you back from pursuing your purpose, from achieving your dreams, and from living as a masculine man. I can tell you from personal experience and from personal growth that the things I will explain will undoubtedly work and will help you get better. I went from a socially awkward and isolated teenager to a much more confident and sociable man. So if you also want to go from a socially awkward, socially isolated, maybe even shy man to a masculine, confident, and talkative man who may likely surpass me in terms of those benefits, then please watch this video to change your life for the better. And of course you need a reason to go through all the discomfort and uncertainty in the first place. I just didn't want to be seen as the shy and awkward big guy who just never talks. I wanted to be the life of the event and for people to look forward to seeing me when I am out, and me understanding what I want in terms of being less anxious, overthinking less, and being more sociable. Didn't help much, but it did get the ball rolling. And although I'm nowhere near where I want to be in terms of being sociable and less anxious, I read and watch things that will help me make small talk and hold meaningful conversations. I'm way past the shyness and awkwardness in my life, but I honestly still don't know how to make small talk. Like I said, I'm nowhere near where I want to be, and there's no shame in that. So what is anxiety? Anxiety is your body's alarm system, which brings attention to something that is potentially dangerous in your life. Anxiety is an emotion like fear is an emotion. When you're feeling fear, you know that there's something that is likely to harm you, someone you care about or something you care about. You feel fear when there is certain danger, and anxiety is being afraid of the potential danger. So if you were to come home to an empty house and hear footsteps upstairs, your heart would immediately start pumping blood faster, to pump blood into your limbs in anticipation of the fight or flight response. But then you see that it's only your dog, so you calm down and your heart rate goes down to a normal level again. Whereas if there was actually someone in your house, your heart would be beating faster than normal due to the potential danger, which is anxiety, and beat even faster when the anxiety turns into fear when you see that there is actually a person in your house. You probably aren't anxious about someone being in your house every time you do come home, but you may be chronically anxious in less threatening everyday situations. Humans are social creatures, and because back in the hunter-gatherer days, being in a group meant higher chances of survival, the brain adapted to seek out for social groups, and the brain is still wired to that to this day, even though it's not necessary. The fact that you were nervous to ask an employee in a shop where the eggs are, in case they think you're stupid for asking, is your mind worrying about the possibility of rejection. And if that person does think you're stupid and does reject you, then it means you cannot be in whatever group that they are in. To your brain, this rejection may mean life or death, but you understand that it isn't. It's the same principle as you get nervous to walk across a tightrope. Your brain also sees that as a dangerous life or death situation. But of course, that is much more rational than asking an employee about eggs. What is overthinking? Overthinking is the survival mechanism that aims to reduce anxiety. The purpose being that if you're anxious about something, your mind will involuntarily start producing thoughts about what you need to do, which will lead to a solution and will stop your anxiety. But it's ironic because overthinking may lead to further and more extreme anxiety in some people. On the 14th of June, I finished making a video that I was going to schedule upload and had two files in my iMovie. The first one was the original file that wasn't stitched together, and the second one was the first one saved and it all stitched together. And because I was finished, I deleted all of the B-roll clips and the unedited video. And I happened to be distracted and accidentally deleted the fully stitched video from my iMovie. And the second I did, my heart sunk because it meant that all the time I spent recording and editing went to waste. And I started to overthink, panic, and think of all the possible solutions that could be done to get that file back. And I would say I'm more reasonable and less anxious than the normal person. So I try to stay calm and try to get it back without panicking. So I checked my camera roll again to see if it was there. I tried to download the unstitched video. I tried to recover the video from iTunes and then even checked my iCloud to see if it was there. And it wasn't anywhere until I checked my camera roll again and seen that the stitched video was right there. In my state of panic and overthinking, I didn't see the video when it was right there under my nose. I know for certain that if someone else like you were in that situation, you may be frozen by indecision or make the problem out worse than it is, which would have led to more and more overthinking thoughts, and none of them would have helped. Then becoming anxious from not knowing what to do, then overthinking further from being anxious. So now you understand why you experience anxiety and why you overthink. But how do you stop them from occurring? Because anxiety is an emotion that makes you feel worried about an uncertain event, what you need to do is live the uncertain event to see the actual outcome, so that you realize you made it much worse than it actually is. There was one day where I was driving to get my girlfriend from work, and I drove down a road that I don't usually go through. And for the majority of the journey, there was a van in front of me. Because I was running late, I was trying to overtake it the whole time. Then we got to a straight stretch of road that was just gravel, and I didn't even think about driving on gravel, and I tried to overtake the van. I managed to get around the van, And then when I was going back in front of it, my car started to skid my rear wheels out, and by pure adrenaline and some luck, I managed to control the car and not crash. The van driver then followed me until I parked so he could talk to me, asked me why on earth would I do that, and mentioned that I was lucky not to go into a hedge. And being truthful, after that I was terrified to go down that road again. And there were several times I did think about going down it, and being anxious in case that time I went down I did crash. But then came one day where I found my balls again, and I went down the road that I nearly crashed on. And guess what? I didn't crash. And that settled the uncertainty and anxiety that I had attached to that road, and proving to myself that it's okay to go down that road again, which in turn cured my anxious attachment to that road. And I can promise you that if I never went down that road, to this day I would still be anxious and overthink about going down that road in case I crash. But what if there is an uncertain event that can't be lived out to see the outcome? What if the outcome is as bad as it seems and you just don't know what to do? An example of this would be something like your parents dying. You're anxious about the thought of it happening, and you can't live the actual outcome with them actually dying and you being devastated. In that case, you just need a plan and write everything that you will do or what you will need to do when they do die. Write out the healthiest and smartest plan that you can, then read it over and over again until you get bored of it and no emotions come to you when you read it. When that happens, it means that you aren't anxious about it anymore, since there is no more uncertainty and you know certainly what you will do when they do die. The same principle applies if I were to be anxious about every single video I post in case they aren't good enough or they get no views. There is a strong possibility that it will happen, but I can't control that. I can only influence it. So I have instilled into my brain that if I make a video that's awful, I will just focus on the next one. There's no anxious uncertainty in case it does happen, because everything is certain and it is planned out. And the longer you wait to deal with your anxiety and your overthinking thoughts, the worse they will get for you. Your brain puts forward a potential problem to your conscious brain so that you deal with the potential danger and get out of danger. And if you suppress the problem and the anxiety, your brain sees that as the problem being so severe that you can't even think about it. So it makes it only more anxiety provoking. The way you view yourself when dealing with your anxiety and your overthinking is vital. If you tell yourself that you have anxiety instead of saying that you're feeling anxious, you're telling yourself that anxiety is part of you as a person and not just an emotion that you're temporarily feeling. And if you tell yourself that you're an overthinker instead of saying that you have overthinking thoughts, you're again telling yourself that overthinking is part of you as a person and not only a series of overanalyzed thoughts due to a bout of anxiety. And lastly, the anxiety that you're feeling isn't going to go away and there just be nothing left. Something needs to take its place, and that something is confidence. And if you work on building your confidence while you shrink your anxiety, the confidence that you build will only help battle anxiety better, since you'll start being confident in yourself, what you say and what you do. And the way I did this is by taking the stoic route. Don't worry about things you can't control. Remember that you will die, and that you're just a man who isn't better than anyone else. You will never be able to control what other people think of you, but you can control your reactions to situations, whether they go good or bad. So you will know in your mind that it doesn't matter if the employee in the shop thinks you're stupid for asking where the eggs are. You cannot control that. Remembering that you will die is also an incredible thing to remember, as it will make you realize the most important things in life, and not to be wasteful worrying about things you can't control. So you will not waste time worrying and overthinking about going up to the employee and asking them about the eggs. You will suck it up and just go do it, because it's what needs done, and you have more important things to care about. And you also know that the employee is no better than you, and you are no better than them. So if it happens that they are judgmental, remember that it doesn't make them any more of a person to put you down.